So warmly welcome to all of you with another day, a new element. The topic is all about electricity. And since we all know a lot of fire or explosion or even fatalities are happening still because of electricity or kind of electrical hazards which are not properly controlled or sometimes plenty of other reasons. People ignore PPs, they are careless, they love to take shortcuts, they don't use lockout, tagout, or isolation. They don't have right set of tools to use for a particular task related to electricity. Sometimes they ignore the underground live cables and sometimes overhead live cables, Even though the work permit system is there, we have GSA, we have joint set inspection, we do plenty of risk assessments for each area. We have several safety technicians or kind of officers who always wondering and looking at deeper and deeper and making sure there isn't any sign of electrical hazards like naked wires or broken switches or any sort of chance of short circuits or so proactively we have a system in built, but still still accidents are happening. If you go back and see like 200 years history of electrical accidents, it's a huge number. It's a huge number. That is why Nibosh also selected that particular area to educate us and give us some sort of refresh ideas. Even as a Sadara, as a brand, again, you're going to be the role model, mashallah, for in electrical safety. So, but let's see what Nibosh is going to guide us. Now, before we move on, there is a question. What are the causes of electric fires and explosion? There are several electrical hazards. One of the hazard is also fires and explosion. So, but what are the causes of those fires and explosion because of electricity? Any one of you voluntarily want to highlight the causes of electric fires and explosion? Any one of you, please, voluntarily. I'm not like because it's just the start of the day. So if you want to add value, just share your ideas or the opinion you have. Causes of electric fires and explosion.
The cause of electric fire, Assalamu alaikum,
Welcome.
could be from the overload of the panel, electric, okay, or it could be the bad quality of the electricity cables or machine, or old inspection or lose of the connection. Or there is several or many reasons of electric. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Fawaz. Plenty of reasons of explosion is there, but let's see what Nibosh is guiding us. What they mention is look at the picture first of all. I added by myself, it's not from the Nibosh side, but overloaded system like Mr. Fawaz also mentioned. It's not like overloaded only in the panels, even extension boards, and especially I noted, in the residential compounds or of our employees, mostly the overloaded extensions like living 3-4 employees in one room and all have mobiles, laptops, and several kind of other devices, even iron and different kind of things, and extension board sometimes is always overloaded. But if Saudi Aramco residential compounds or Sadara residential compounds, you're going to see all the best practices are still there, and they try their level best to implement in a true spirit and make sure, if you are trying to implement some of the electrical safety systems, make sure they are well maintained actually, because maintainability and sustainability, even in that part, is very critical. Like we always say, quality is a habit. No, I have no hesitation to say that safety is also a habit. So we have to make safety our day-to-day habit actually. Then it would be converted into a nature, and nature can never be changed. So, and that would be a strong pillar for a better safety culture also, But yes, it takes time. It takes time to educate people to make them realize, especially the causes we have related to electrical fires and explosion is like faulty electrical equipments or overheating. And sometimes we don't report or we ignore and we wait for the terrible incident and then we go with some certain actions. Overloaded system and overheating during charging. Equipment may be misused or flammable atmosphere. I hope you remember yesterday we discussed several zones like zone 0, 1, 2, 3. So also zone 22, 20, and 21. According to the explosion or kind of fumes available into that area. Accordingly, we discuss, what type of electrical equipment or wires even you need to decide area-wise. The category of electric equipments and wires. So flammable atmosphere with the wrong type of equipment or even accidentally created. Electrical equipment producing heat or spark in normal use and poor internal electrical connections. In other words, loose connections. In other words, sometime, let me give you one of the incident reported by OSHA. There was two panels associated with different machines, and one of the machine was not working. So what they did is they removed the wire from one breaker and put to another panel in another breaker. But drawing was not updated, and he didn't inform to anyone. No permit was taken, nothing. And the moment other gentleman came, and he isolated the right point, but he never thought that the wires are interchanged, from one breaker to another. And unfortunately, he also committed a mistake that he didn't verify because lockout, tagout, and isolation, even if you perform those procedures, still it's much better to validate, to double check, to verify that there isn't any chance of kind of energy, either electrical, mechanical, hydraulic, pneumatic, spring loaded, or several other energies. Just we have to verify. It's not like just we put lock and tag and we are quite satisfied. Still, we need to try to start that equipment and see if it is being started, yes or no, or any residual energy or which can create terrible disaster later on. Like in electrical, a lot of explosions are happening just because of static electricity, because maybe no proper bonding or earthing or grounding. If those methods are not being used productively, more chances of explosion, especially in oil and gas and even in chemical industry like in Sadara. I hope you have a clear idea what I'm talking about, like static electricity. So electrical equipment always have a chance to produce heat or spark in normal use, but poor internal electrical connections even sometimes lose, the screws are not tightened properly, the wires are loose inside the breakers and they started sparking, and sometime we forgot, sometime this is what our untrained or inefficient electrical technicians going to do there. So the certified electrical engineers, or make sure they are highly professionally skilled or kind of competent electrical team is there, then of course the probability will go down actually. So we have the learning objectives as usual for from starting from element 5 to onward. Hazards and their controls. Hazards, risk associated, of course, with the hazards. Risk are always associated with the hazards, but especially with the use of electricity in the workplace. And we're going to discuss the control measures that should be taken when working with electrical systems, or using electrical equipment in all workplace conditions. I have no idea how you make sure the right person for the right job in Sadara, even though you are part of Saudi Aramco. But in Saudi Aramco, they have a very strong best practice. They don't accept your degrees blindly. They don't accept your experience again blindly. They don't accept. Still, they're gonna verify and validate your knowledge, maybe through some kind of practical exams, maybe through interviews, maybe some have some practical demonstration even, just to reconfirm that you are the right person for the right job. It's not like sometimes you have plenty of degrees, but on the other side, no knowledge or no practical approach or no capability to transform that knowledge or implement in an effective way. So let me give you an example. Like you are an electrical engineer and you want to be approved as an electrical systems officer from Saudi Aramco. Still, they're going to give you plenty of tough time and in shape of exams or maybe interviews and something like that. Same way for WPR. Same way for rigger level 1, rigger level 2, scaffolding supervisor, scaffolding inspector. Even a time was there, CSE supervisor, fire watcher, authorized gas tester, even plenty of areas where they try their level best to make sure the right person is there, before even they start allowing or issuing the permit. Even they verify, they validate, even before signing the contract with that contractor. Still they double check their capacity, their competence level, and overall their experience into that particular area. And that is called a proactive approach. And I hope you remember, before, during, and after any process in the world, we have to portionalize in 3 different domains: before, during, and after. Before, what safety requirements are important, within that domain, and then during and after. So at any stage, if you violate or ignore safety rule, even though that would be called unsafe act, but every time it would be hard to be lucky. Even though people ignore safety rules because of certain pressures, maybe deadlines, maybe saving some time, maybe some sort of a human nature as well, to do things as quick as possible, and maybe a tendency to keep their boss happy, whatsoever the reason is. But of course, it is a kind of terrible unsafe acts. And sometimes the conditions are not okay. Like if electrical panels, overall selection of electrical panels or the breakers quality is not as per international standards. So then what safety we are talking about? If the electric wires you selected in BOQ are not meeting European regulations or not manufactured as per international standards, or even within Saudi Arabia, SASO, they are the best department of Saudi government, ensuring the right set of quality standards in different areas, mashallah. And they are going to be more and more active, especially closely working with the Saudi customs and making sure whatever is incoming from different countries in shape of imports, they are validating and making sure quality assurance is there. And why those things are important? Now imagine if bad quality wires or poor quality breakers you are installing, or the right set of capacity is not there, you ignore that one, then what safety we are talking about? Your load from the Sakiko, from the source is not coming as much as you want, actually, as per your existing capacity or upcoming demand. That demand is not being fulfilled from the so the government side. Still it would be a huge gap. But sometimes you are allowed, your company is allowed for a certain load, but you place a lot of new equipments and using that energy more and more. Again, the issue would be with short circuits and sometimes demolishing your machines, even sudden breakdowns. Plenty of incidents happen, including the fires and explosion as well. Sometimes wetty conditions, humidity conditions, dust accumulation, plenty of. I hope I have mentioned in one of the company while doing a safety audit. I just talked to the electrical technician. Can you just show me the electric panels? Even though they were mostly were not locked, uh, uh, even I can open them, but still it's not allowed. As per the procedures. So I requested to the relevant department, and the moment I checked several panels, the e-tables I found there, a lot of personal belongings, our machine operators were keeping there. Even I found different food items, even though they have locker rooms. But this is how sometimes employees, they will not spare the chance, if there is any place available and they can put their belongings, they will definitely go for it. And the most terrible part in any of the electric panel, mostly I didn't see the rubber mats, because sometimes the earthing could also be the failure. So make sure the area is not electric. If it is electrocuted, still the rubber mat or non-conductive material still on your way and keeping you safe. So it's a very detailed technical subject, but still we have to learn because we are the safety leaders. So we can't give any excuse. Oh, the electrical system, we have no idea. We are not electrical engineer, but we are as a safety practitioner at least have to have foundational understanding or kind of safety rules and procedures relevant to electrical safety. Now there are 11.1 is all about